Hey, welcome to Moto Network, and today we're going to talk about history of Suzuki motorcycles. Suzuki is another company from 4 major Japanese companies to produce motorcycles varying from cruisers and dual sport motorcycles to the legendary GSXR family. So let's get down to it. From its foundation in 1952, when Suzuki produced its first motorcycle, the company had gone through a series of ups and downs. But just as Yamaha Company, Suzuki never started as an automotive company. Instead, it began in 1909 when Michio Suzuki founded Suzuki Loom Works in Hamamatsu, Japan. About 10 years later, the company was incorporated and capitalized, with Michio Suzuki as the president. Right before the war, Suzuki tried to deviate from loom production to manufacturing of small cars. However, the government declared civilian cars as a non-essential commodity in 1937. After the World War II, the plant had to shut down due to severe war damage and subsequently moved to Takatsuka plant site, where it remained ever since. In late 40s, Suzuki stock appeared on Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka stock exchanges. In 1952, Suzuki created its first two-wheeled motorized vehicle. The power-free model was essentially a bicycle with a small displacement engine. It wasn't up until 1953 when Suzuki introduced its first 60cc motorcycle that featured double sprocket mechanism and 2-speed transmission. This motorcycle gained enough attention to influence the company leadership to change the name to Suzuki Motor Company Limited in 1954. Since then, Suzuki's primary market was the production of motorcycles and the civilian passenger vehicles. In 1955, Suzuki introduced Khalida COX, which was a 125cc 4-stroke single-cylinder motorcycle with a steel frame and 3-speed transmission, as well as Khalida ST, which was a 2-stroke version of COX. In 1959, Suzuki introduced Khalida Cell Twin, which was a 125cc 2-cylinder 2-stroke motorcycle. However, not everything went well for Suzuki, as later the same year, on September 26, 1959, the assembly line got totally destroyed by Typhoon Vera, which currently remains the strongest and the deadliest typhoon to ever struck Japan. 1960s became an important decade for Suzuki as it entered Grand Prix racing under the name of Khalida in 1960, and then a year later under the brand name Suzuki in 125 and 250cc classes. In 1963, Mitsuo Ito makes history as the first Japanese rider to win the Isle of Man, which led to subsequent victories of Suzuki in Riders and Manufacturers Championships. The same year, US Suzuki Motor Corporation was opened in Los Angeles. In 1967, Suzuki Company decided to expand its production by opening the first assembly plant outside Japan, creating Thai Suzuki Corporation Limited. The next year, Suzuki decided to withdraw from the World Grand Prix due to changes in the FIM rules despite the fact that they won 1967 season. It wasn't until 1970 when Joel Robert won 250cc World Motocross Championship for Suzuki. This is the first year after a 3-year break. In 1971, the GT750 2-stroke surprises people with its 3-cylinder liquid-cooled engine. In North America, it's nicknamed the Water Buffalo, in the UK the Column Kettles. Although the bike is quite advanced in many ways and inspires a line of smaller air-cooled triples like GT380 and GT550, it's clear that pollution control legislation will limit the use of 2-strokes as street motorcycles. In 1974, the RE5 is the first Japanese motorcycle with a rotary engine. It cost a fortune to develop, and while it's not bad, it's a commercial disaster. After 2 years, the company abandons the project, and there are rumors that tooling was dumped into the sea so that Suzuki managers would never have to see it again. The same year, RM125 introduced its production version of the works machine RA75, on which Gaston Rayher won 125cc World Motocross GP Championship. From 1975 to 1984, Suzuki dominates this class 10 years in a row with Gaston Rayher, Akira Watanabe, Harry Everts, Eric Gabors, and Michel Rinaldi. In 1976, Suzuki introduced its GS750 and GS400, which were the first 4-stroke machines from Suzuki in over 20 years. Pops Yoshimura enters the GS750 for the first time in the AMA Superbike series, wins at Laguna Seca Raceway. 2 years later, Suzuki introduced its first leader bike, GS1000E. The same year, a Yoshimura GS1000 ridden by Californians Mike Baldwin and Wes Cooley wins the first Suzuka 8-hour endurance road race. In 1981, German designer Hans A. Muth uses the motif of a samurai sword to create the original GSX 1100S Katana, a motorcycle that typifies Suzuki. The next year, Italian Franco Uncini, riding a Roberto Gallina racing team RG Gamma motorcycle, takes the Grand Prix Championship in 500cc class. Suzuki wins the manufacturer's title for the 7th consecutive year. In 1985, Suzuki released the race-inspired replica, the RG500 Gamma. It featured the same square 4-cylinder layout as the factory Grand Prix Pre bikes. Other racy features are the square tube aluminum frame and removable cassette type transmission. Also, the new GSXR 750 had arrived, which became the most important new motorcycle of the decade. In fact, the bike was so successful that in 1989, Jamie James wins the AMA Superbike Championship on the GSXR 750. A year later, in 1986, Suzuki launches the new GSXR 1100 that pushes the top speed of over 160 miles per hour. In 1991, the 779cc DR Big has the largest single-cylinder engine in living memory. A year later, the GSXR 750 switched to water cooling from oil cooling, which resulted in increased weight. In 1993, Kevin Schwantz, in a race against Wayne Rainey, pulled a victory for Suzuki in 500cc World Championship. However, it didn't leave him victorious. "I'd rather not win in this way," he said, referring to the career-ending injury of his arch-rival Wayne Rainey. In 1996, Suzuki updated their GSXR 750. They called the new Jigsaw the Turning Point model, thanks to its twin-spar frame instead of the older double cradle frame. The engine was also redesigned and featured 3-piece crankcases, chrome-plated cylinders, and a side-mount cam chain, as well as a Suzuki Ram Air Direct. In 1998, Suzuki introduced the legendary Hayabusa. The 1299cc sport bike became the fastest production motorcycle in 99 to 2000 model years. It immediately won claims as the world's fastest production motorcycle with a top speed of 188 to 194 miles per hour, or 303 to 312 kilometers an hour. Besides its speed, the Hayabusa has been lauded by many reviewers for its all-around performance, and that it does not drastically compromise other qualities like handling, comfort, reliability, noise, fuel consumption, or price in pursuit of a single function. In 1999, Matt Mladen wins the AMA Superbike Championship, beginning a run of unprecedented dominance. Mladen will win 5 more times and Suzuki will win 8 of the next 9 titles. With sport bikes getting more and more sharp-edged, the company is one of the first to recognize what might be called the semi-sport market as opposed to the super sport market. The SV650 featured an aluminum alloy truss frame and a liquid-cooled 90-degree V-twin dual overhead cam 4-valve engine. In 2001, based on the compact GSXR 750, the GSXR 1000 is powered by a liquid-cooled dual overhead cam 16-valve 4-cylinder 988cc engine, which features narrow-angled valves and downdraft individual throttle body fuel injection. In 2005, Suzuki's original 4-stroke motocrosser, the RMZ 450, is equipped with a 4-stroke 449cc engine, which features the Suzuki Advanced Sump system. The same year, Troy Corser gives Suzuki its first and only so far World Superbike Championship. In 2008, Hayabusa-related naked bike is introduced. Powered by a 1340cc Hayabusa engine, the B-King is Suzuki's flagship big naked bike. Suzuki says it has top-ranked power output in the naked category. From 2009 to early 2011, Suzuki decides not to import any sport bikes to America due to economic downturn. In racing, the team was sponsored by Rizla since 2006 and was known as Rizla Suzuki MotoGP team. On November 18, 2011, however, Suzuki announced that the GP racing was suspended, partly due to natural disasters and recession, until 2014. In 2012, 1 millionth commemorative edition GSXR 1000 model celebrates a million motorcycles produced in the Suzuki GSXR series since 1985. The following year, 50th anniversary special edition GSXR 1000 model celebrates Suzuki's 1963 entry into the US motorcycle market. In late 2014, after 2 years suspension since 2012, Suzuki announced that Suzuki factory team is coming back to MotoGP 2015 racing season. In November 2015, Suzuki finally revealed its all-new GSXR 1000 that was meant to directly compete with already existing 2015 Yamaha R1 and Ducati 1299 Panigale. 6th generation GSXR 1000 is also the highest spec ever, with multi-mode traction control, rider modes, ABS, ride-by-wire throttle, bi-directional quick shifter, an all-new engine and all-new chassis inspired directly by MotoGP race bike. Also, the updated GSXR 600 will be presented to the public in March 2016. The bike will feature updated chassis and engine. According to Suzuki, there won't be a lot of variations of the bike since Suzuki is aiming to offer the purest riding experience that it can provide to its customers. If you liked today's video, make sure to smack that like button, give us thumbs up, and subscribe to Moto Network for more Moto content. Also, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links in the description. Until then, see you next time.